Welcome back to the live morning show presented by Don Bullock Chevrolet. We are honored to have Pat Daniels with us. Pat, representing the Rocky Mountain Meals on Wheels. Pat, thank you so much for being here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. You're here part of Davenport Auto Parks Community for Life series,
Yes.
and we are honored to have you. Let's dive right in. First of all, let's not assume that all of our viewers know exactly what Meals on Wheels does. Let's give them a 30,000-foot overview of Meals on Wheels, and we'll narrow our focus down from there.
Okay, well, Meals on Wheels of Rocky Mount is such an important outreach program for our homebound seniors. We were established in 1978, so we're celebrating 45 years of helping those who can't really help themselves. They cannot get out and drive. They are in need of healthy meals. And so these citizens are receiving a daily meal, a hot meal, prepared by our hospital, National UNC Healthcare, and it's according to their dietary restrictions. And on the weekends, they receive frozen meals.
Okay.
So 7 days a week, they have a healthy meal to go to.
Pat, there's so much there to unpack. Let me start with this. How does someone come to be served by Meals on Wheels? What's the process?
Well, it could be a couple ways. One, it could be a referral, from social services or a doctor. Also, individuals can go to our website, which is mowrmt.org, and they can, fill out an information request saying, I have a neighbor in need or I'm in need.
And folks, if you do any online search for Meals on Wheels Rocky Mount, the first item that's going to come up is a link to MOWRMT.
Correct. That is correct. .org.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can call our number, right.
So it doesn't have to be a governmental entity or a non-governmental entity that refers someone to you. A friend or a relative can start the process.
Somebody in need, that you recognize your neighbor may be living by themselves and may not make the call for themselves, but
Yes.
You may say, would you consider Meals on Wheels?
Now, you mentioned that the meals are prepared by the Nash UNC Healthcare. Tell us a little bit about that partnership.
Well, we couldn't do Meals on Wheels of Rocky Mount without them. Every morning they deliver to First Presbyterian Church on North Church Street, which is where our office is, in partnership with the church. Yeah. And they deliver the meals already packaged and in warmers, and we take them and we transfer them to our warmers into our coolers. And then that's how it's distributed out on 15 routes every day.
And this is done 5 days a week?
5 days a week, yes, Monday through Friday. Mm-hmm.
And for the weekends, Nash UNC prepares frozen foods that will get someone through the Saturday and Sunday before the next.
That is correct. They deliver those frozen meals on Thursday.
Okay.
So that the volunteers on Thursday take out a hot meal, but then take out the frozen meals too.
Okay.
So the individuals receiving Meals on Wheels, knows obviously to freeze those meals until they need them on the weekends.
You say there are 15 different routes.
15 routes in Nash and Edgecombe County, yes.
How many people are served, or how many homes are served on each route?
Well, it depends on the route, but we serve over 115 clients every day. So, some routes are longer, some routes are shorter.
We are living in times that the cost of everything is going up, and food inflation just about leads the way. You can't go to the grocery store on a regular basis and not be surprised, if not shocked, by the rising cost of basic foods.
So true.
What has this done to Meals on Wheels budget and ability to meet their clients' needs?
Well, of course, like you said, with the rising costs, our cost per meal has gone up too. Whereas, it used to be around $5, now it's about $7. So there's an impact there on the operation of Meals on Wheels, and that's where grants and individual donations and foundations that support us are helping us to manage through these hard times.
Pat, I want to come back to a part of that, but I want to ask you this. In terms of actually preparing the meals and deciding what the meals are going to be. Is that something that Meals on Wheels decides and you tell Nash UNC Healthcare, or do the dietitians at Nash UNC Healthcare decide this is what we're going to fix and give it to you? How does that work?
Well, the executive director, Jan Warren, works closely with the dietitians. So it is a rotating menu. So you don't get every week spaghetti or things like that. So it just really depends on the operation of the program. But no, we do not choose and select on a regular basis. It's pretty much scheduled for us, healthy.
Can someone who has dietary needs be served by Meals on Wheels?
Yes, but their diet might be different. For example, they may not receive bananas, or they may not receive oranges, or they may be not able to drink milk. There's certain, yes, we are very much aware of the dietary needs of our clients.
Let me shift gears and go back to the point I wanted to follow. You have 150 households, 115 that you're serving. How did COVID affect what the services that Meals on Wheels provided?
That was a life changer for all of us, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
I am so proud of what Meals on Wheels of Rocky Mount does, because during COVID, they didn't stop. We didn't do all the volunteers on the regular routes, but we had a certain number of exclusive volunteers that came in and ran the routes for us. So our clients didn't go without. And I can't imagine what they would have done during those difficult, that time length that we were all involved in COVID, if we had not continued to provide our services. We were nonstop.
Have you had any permanent changes to your services because of COVID and the changes that you had to make there?
Well, to begin with, one thing we were not able to do was go inside the home. So that was something we can go back and do now. We can go in and we can set the meal down on the counter. But that was one of the major things we were not able to go in. But we're back operating as we were before, and I pray that we'll be able to continue to do that.
Pat, what about the need? Have you seen any significant change in the demand for Meals on Wheels services over the last several years, since during COVID and afterwards?
Well, we always have a waiting list, and you're limited with your volunteers and your operation how many you can serve, or unfortunately, sometimes someone has to pass away before a slot comes open. So we have that need, and that need will continue, because we are a rural area. And like you said, with cost inflation of food, we do our best to continue to add to the routes, to add clients, but it does take a waiting list to work.
You and I did not have a chance to speak before you came on air, so I'm going to ask you this question. I'll understand if you can't or don't want to answer it. How long is your waiting list?
I'm going to say maybe 6 months.
How many people on the waiting list, though?
I'm not sure right now, but I would say probably at least over 20. That's a lot.
It's a lot, and the thing that is frustrating to me is that this is a basic human need.
So true.
No one can go without.
Right.
You don't eat, you don't live. And from the standpoint that we would have people who cannot have a basic human need met for them like that is frustrating.
And it's our senior citizens, our homebound senior citizens who have served us, in various occupations or served their families, and for various reasons, they're at this stage in life.
If not to pat myself on the back, but I'm a Meals on Wheels volunteer.
I did not know that.
So,
Thank you.
which is, I do it about once a month.
And that's what our volunteers do.
Which is what I wanted to say. This is if someone is interested, you have flexibility in terms of how they can actually volunteer. Is that correct?
Well, we 5 days a week we do this. So you may say, well, Pat, the second Tuesday of the month's not good for me, but I can do the second Thursday of the month, and we can work with you. Because without volunteers, and we have over 500 volunteers annually that support this program by delivering these meals, this program wouldn't exist. Because we are a very small staff. You have the executive director, you have the people that are coordinating the volunteers and the meals, and that's only 3 people.
And it does not take long. It takes about an hour to do the route from picking up to running the route to bringing the cooler, the warmer back to back.
It's a small commitment of time, but what I hear from the volunteers, and you know this firsthand, it's rewarding.
It is.
You know, to see that individual accept that
Yes.
food and see your smile.
Yes.
And for you to say, hi, you know, Miss Jones, how are you doing today? And bring that newspaper. You know, I think Rocky Mountain Telegram provides newspapers, and they like the newspaper now.
Absolutely.
That's a big deal. It is rewarding in many ways.
If our time goes so quickly on
It
these
does, I
interviews,
know.
if what we have talked about today sparks an interest in someone, they didn't know about Meals on Wheels, or they'd heard of it, but they really didn't know,
Right.
or they didn't recognize the demand in the community.
Or they're looking for something rewarding to do.
They would like a way to give back,
Right.
to make this place a little better than they found it.
Right.
How can they get in touch with you, and what are the volunteer opportunities that are available?
Well, there are definitely volunteer opportunities right now because, you know, you may have someone that has to stop delivering for whatever reason. So they can certainly call the number at 446-4336, or they can go to mowrmt.org and just fill out the little information area and say, I want to volunteer, here's my phone number, get in touch with me, and we'll call them.
Is there training that's involved?
Yes, there is training involved. And we also send out teams of 2. You know,
Yes.
safety is so
Yes.
important. And
And it's also a great way, it can be a husband, wife, it can
Yes.
be friends, or they can pair you up with someone, which is a great way to get to
Right.
know someone
So true.
who's sharing the same sort of volunteer spirit, so to speak.
Well, you know, churches are so engaged, and so are businesses. They can, you know, send out teams of 2 and make that difference.
Yes.
You know, so we'll take 2 volunteers, or we'll take 1 volunteer.
How did you handle Christmas? Was there a delivery of meals on Christmas, or did you give them the meals on Christmas Eve?
What we do, well, we did several things at Christmas, which I'm very proud of, and I want to share this briefly. We had an anonymous donor that chose to give us a nice gift to purchase turkeys at Thanksgiving, hams at Christmas. So the clients received those, and they were so grateful. And then Nash County Sheriff's Department provided fruit baskets. We also had some other donation items to add a little gift bag for our clients. But what we do at holidays, because the office is closed, we have boxed meals. And they come in very nice with cans of like string beans and things like that with the pop top that these individuals can have at their home. So we also do it at hurricane season. We will definitely do it again if there's an ice storm. You know, there's all these reasons, for sure. So.
Pat, if there was one thing you would like our viewers to walk away from this interview, what would that be?
Meals on Wheels is an important part of our program. It is such an important part of what these homebound seniors are need. I ask for your support. If it's your time, if it's your gift of a donation, continue to help us help those who need our help.
Pat Daniels, thank you so
Thank
very
you.
much
My
for being
pleasure.
here.
My pleasure.
One of the core services in the area, making sure that people, our seniors who are in need, have at least a meal a day.
Amen.
Yes,
A
ma'am.
healthy meal.
Healthy meal. Pat, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Rocky Mountain Meals on Wheels. We're going to step aside for these commercial messages. When we come back, Fred will have his last look at weather, and then we'll wrap the show up. You're watching the live morning show presented by Don Bullock Chevrolet, and we'll be right back.